Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We are now in the thick of this day, and I don't want to call it a campaign day, but it's more of a, hey, let's get some advice for how we might want to campaign. It's the campaign before the campaigning.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on where Davon and Bayley are really trying to figure out what's the best way to campaign and who to actually talk to.
And I think there's some pretty fascinating things game-wise to sort of talk through here, because I don't think it's really that cut and dry a decision for a lot of people in the house. I kind of feel like Bayley's the one in more trouble, but there's a lot of time for that to change, and we'll talk through some of the discussions that are going on leading up to the veto ceremony tomorrow. But before we do, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because tonight we're going to finally learn who has that stinking third power.
Yep.
Support us further as well by checking those links to the store and our Patreon. We just did a bonus live over there earlier today, and thank you to everyone who has signed up so far.
So let's talk about Bayley and Christmas a little bit, because there's some interesting stuff that's going on between them of kind of the root of why Bayley is feeling betrayed by Christmas putting her up, because they have shared a room a lot of this season. They have gotten along really well for a long time, and then all of a sudden Bayley noticed that there was a little bit of a shift there where she thought that Danny was kind of getting a little bit closer with Christmas, and Christmas was pulling away, and some of their conversations weren't as good and as open as they were, where it used to be, let's share information, and then it turned more into Christmas being like, well, you tell me first, and then Bayley kind of like, what? Like, we used to be a lot more open than this. So when Christmas was on the block last week, where we know that she was just a pawn, but she was playing it like she might go home. She was going around to everybody, hey, I'd like to campaign for your vote. She came to Bayley, hey, Bayley, you know, I want to campaign for your vote. And before she even really had to get into anything, Bayley just was like, stop right there. You have my vote. You know that I've got you 100%. You don't even have to ask me for your vote. And then this week, Christmas puts her on the block. So Bayley is confused of like, what did I do that turned it into this, where last week I had you no matter what, and this week I'm on the block.
I've got a hypothesis here on Christmas, in that I think if Christmas plays a third time, and let me make it clear, I'm not advocating for this.
What are you doing
but
that?
If she played a third time, just any future Big Brother players that are playing with Christmas 3.0 in this crazy scenario, just go to her the first minute of the game and make a deal, because clearly she's just going to roll with like the first big alliance she's a part of, and she's going to be super loyal to that.
Yep.
She's not going to want to flip on that, and I think where Bayley is just running into it is, you know, Christmas already has her group, and she's going to stay loyal to that group no matter how dysfunctional they are, where they're all pretty mad at Danny. That's still there. Memphis has already done the Memphis thing when he was HOH. They stuck together. This is just, it's who Christmas is. She's just going to stay loyal to that group, which is seemingly effective right now, but not seemingly, very much apparently not that much fun as a viewer to watch.
And Christmas has put herself in this position, which is a good position to be in, where people don't really realize she is part of a bigger alliance.
It is an asset that she has, and it helps her to be able to do some sort of nonsense like what she tried to do with Bayley today. So Bayley is very much in this mode right now of, okay, I want to try to figure out what I can do to stay. And she wanted to know from Christmas, okay, you know, am I the target? What's the plan here? Because she wants to just sort of figure out her campaign, and she just wanted to know, you know, where the votes could be going, or if Christmas had a preference, and she was just totally blowing it off and just giving her the runaround. You know, I don't really want to do that. It's really up to the house and you and Davon for whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, Bayley also said that she's not going to push for the veto to be used, which I was also a little bit surprised by. But if Bayley doesn't have a good plan, it's better to just not push for the veto to be used. It's got to be, if you're going to ask for something like that, you need to have a reason. There has to be a replacement, why they would be a good replacement, how they're going to hurt Christmas's game. And if you don't have that, then Bayley has probably made the right choice. But if I was playing, I would always push to have it moved if I'm on the block. But, you know, not everybody plays like that. And that's probably why I probably wouldn't be that great at this game.
Well, I would be doing the same thing. Like, this is the thing. Like, I do agree that, yeah, if you don't have a good idea, don't throw an idea against the wall. But if I was Bayley, I would not have said, you know, I'm not going to try to get you to use the veto. Or I would have said, you know what, I'm gonna be thinking of some stuff. I'm gonna come back and talk to you later. Take that time, think about a really good idea, and then go and present it to, like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? She's gonna say, no, I'm not gonna do that. Just throw somebody under the bus who you already think you don't have in the first place.
I think the thing is that you need to have that idea before you go to Christmas. You can't go there and say, I'll come back to you with an idea in a little bit.
Probably.
Just wait right here. I'll go come up with a lie. I will be right back.
This is also why anywhere. I'm not good at Big Brother.
So I think it's just, if you're going to ask someone to use the veto, you have to have a really good backup plan for it. Not just, Christmas, listen, man, I've got your back. I had your back last week. You were on the block. You asked for, you know, my vote to keep you. I was like, no problem. You don't even have to ask. I have you this whole game. You don't even worry about it. To say, you know I have you. I've proven that, you know, we're together, that I will have your back. So have my back, because going forward, you will have me in your corner. That's only half of it. Then you have to have, listen, you need to target so-and-so, and this is ABCY.
It's, all of this with Christmas is bizarre. Like, there's this whole narrative that's kind of going around the house today that, like, Christmas needs a break, and she doesn't want to do anything too crazy today. And it's like, yeah, I know Christmas apparently, like, had some bad dreams or tough sleeps or anything like that a few days ago, but she's also won an HOH where I regardless of whether or not she had the right answer at the end, she really could have won that HOH just standing there and doing nothing, which is basically what happened.
Yep.
She won the power of veto.
Yep.
She got a power. I mean, not everybody knows that, but she has it. She wore the freaking HOH robe today, and you know how I feel about wearing the HOH robe.
Christmas is not having a hard week. I get having a couple bad sleeps. I'm not a great sleeper. I understand what that's like. But this whole idea just feels kind of BS of everyone sort of trying to keep Christmas from talking to people is what it really feels like. Oh, Christmas is having a tough time. Don't speak to her about anything before the veto. Please, please, please is really what it is.
They're just all trying to handle her with kid gloves because they don't want to be in a situation where something crazy happens. And especially with everything that Danny, Davon, and Nicole talked about with Tyler, I think Nicole in particular is probably like, okay, I don't want a situation where Tyler ends up going on the block right now. And well, Christmas we know isn't going to do that anyway.
No, but Nicole doesn't know that.
Yeah, so I think there's just a lot of, let's try to be really, really careful. And, you know, it sounds like there's going to be some sort of party tomorrow. Maybe it's for Labor Day or whatever else. And so I worry that this is going to turn into a not much game talk for the next day and a half, which I don't want. But granted, I didn't honestly expect as much like pseudo campaigning as we're kind of getting today either.
Yeah, I wasn't sure really where any of this was going to go. But if they are really trying to keep people away from Christmas so that they can't talk about using the veto at all, then it could end up drying up a bit.
So we have here Kevin is sort of this person that both Davon and Bayley are going to for advice. Quick thumbs up or thumbs down on Kevin being the person you want to talk to about advice in the game at the moment.
Well, the problem is that Kevin and Davon are really close.
Yeah.
And there isn't really anyone for the women to go to right now.
It's true, and I think it's sort of like, hey, look, Kevin, you went really, really far on your season. You did better than we did. Maybe you know something. You may not know it this season, but maybe you knew something previously.
I wish that Davon and Bayley just had more confidence in themselves right now, and I get why they don't. They're on the block. This sucks. There's no real way for them to get out of that, and they're on the block together, so it is tough for them to then go back and forth with their ideas because they're both trying to stay. So you need to have somebody else. But, you know, is Kevin the right choice? No, he's not. But who else is there? It could still be, and I know it's difficult, but that if Da'Vonne and Bayley can just talk it out together to try to figure something out, the veto hasn't been played yet.
Yeah.
They don't need to get into full campaign mode yet. They can come up with a plan together that doesn't involve Kevin, and they can just sit down together and come up with a really good story of why somebody else needs to go on the block.
You gotta try something at this point.
It's not over yet. You ladies can still figure this out. You have until tomorrow.
Yeah, they're both smart, capable people. I think there's going to be a chance at something like that. I mean, I'll say Kevin gave like good Tuesday advice to them, I guess, in go to people and try to make specific deals for this week or that week or whatever else. Give them something concrete, but you don't need to do this on a Sunday. Like, it is Sunday. Like you said, the veto has not been even used yet. I think this is where you need to put on... I will lend you guys the devil horns that I've been using. Think of something wicked, fun. If nothing else, we will love you all the more for it, for stirring things up in this game. That has to matter, right?
I just feel that together they can come up with something. And my fear, though, is that because Bayley has said that she's not going to push for the veto to be used, that then she now has put herself into a position that she cannot go back and be like, well, actually, now I'm going to push for it because of this.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that as well. And I'm still a little in the dark about some of these votes because... yeah, we've talked that Kevin and Da'Vonne are close. But Kevin had his sort of ridiculous rant earlier about how Da'Vonne is there to make friends, which I don't believe for a second. But Bayley is seemingly more competitive than Da'Vonne. I think she's more capable of winning competitions. I think Kevin may end up weighing that. And I think Da'Vonne is already trying to pinpoint in conversations, especially with Nicole, like, okay, David, Cody, Memphis, these are people that I really should be going to. And, you know, we haven't heard enough of a lot of these people vocalizing their thoughts yet.
Yeah, and Nicole agreed with that those are some people that she thinks that Da'Vonne does need to have those conversations with, and they could be votes for her.
I think it's going to just sort of take okay, do people like a Cody and a Memphis, if Christmas is HOH and Christmas wants Bayley out, do you just say, you know what, let's just do this, it'll make Christmas happy? I don't see them being willing to just stick their neck out and cause a lot of friction within the alliance this early to either say Da'Vonne or Bayley. I think they're going to do probably just what the HOH wants.
Yes, I unfortunately think that is the way that this is going to go, as it has pretty much every week.
And I worry that David ultimately might just do whatever Tyler tells him to do. And I wish we had a better David update. Like, I like the David update segments, but David, you're not even giving me enough right now.
No, well, and I understand why. He still is kind of trying to figure out a way to get past what he's done.
David's going to spend the next, 2 weeks digging himself out of a hole.
Yeah, and honestly, after how deep he dug that hole, I just don't know how he gets out.
Yeah, so the only thing, I guess, other of interest over the past few hours is Danny and Da'Vonne had this conversation, and, you know, we can always speculate as to how much Danny means this, but in the event that there is a double eviction coming up this Thursday, which I don't think we think that there is.
No.
But if there is, and one of them gets power, they talked about possibly backdooring Tyler at this point, which would be smart, because there's a chance he wouldn't play in the veto. There's still a lot of people left.
Yep.
And there wouldn't be a lot of time for people to react to it either.
The thing about this that I'm finding the most sort of compelling about Danny telling the truth about this is that it has now been a few sort of days in a row now that she has been pushing this Tyler thing. She's, you know, they had the blow up with Bayley and Danny, and then all this sort of Tyler stuff came out. Danny hasn't left this. She has continued to have these conversations and push that forward. And it's a good move by her because she did kind of blow it with a lot of stuff, and she knows that her name's been being thrown out there. Targeting Tyler is the right thing to do. And if she can get some other people to really be thinking about it, and if there was a double, which I don't think there is, but if there was one, or either one of them win the next HOH, that Tyler would be a target.
I think it's everything in Big Brother is circumstantial, right? Because like with Christmas, it makes sense to ride with this alliance for a while because she's well insulated within it and she can still win comps. But for Danny, there's already so much dysfunction around her in this alliance. I don't think it makes sense for her to go to the final 6 with this blob alliance at all. I think it makes sense for her to build her resume, make a big move. Yeah, it might come back to bite her, but she's not going to win the way she's playing anyway.
And I think she's just having it as some sort of safety. So just if Tyler wins next week, okay, we'll just deal with whatever's going to happen because he's probably not going to come after Danny. Maybe. He might, but maybe not. There is more of a chance that the alliance will keep her around and talk him out of it. And that maybe it's not the time to make the move. But, you know, I just don't know.
I'm fascinated by that stuff at this point, especially, you know, I don't want Bayley and Devon to be broken up, but it is going to make things a little bit more interesting in terms of potential targets. But tonight, we'll be back to finally learn about that power, what it is, what it means. We might see some other interesting stuff that hasn't been on the feeds.
And who has it?
All right. Final prediction. Who do you think has the power? Let us know. Let us know what you think Bayley and Devon should do today. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us, check those links to the Patreon, our store, and we'll see you here next time.